gonna start. I'm gonna be, just so everybody know, I'm gonna be leaving after some of the action items here today. I have to be in Albany by a certain time, so I'm gonna just figure out how to make this work. So,
We got
we're gonna
quorum?
go in, no, we don't have a quorum yet, but we're gonna move into committee.
We don't need it today.
I don't need, yeah, I don't need a quorum committee, things, Mike. And, then we'll get to the main meeting. We're gonna move some things around to adjust where I gotta be. But, hopefully there'll be one more board member coming through. Okay, so we're gonna hope for that. All right, so so Carlos, we'll bring this meeting because we have a lot of work in there.
You're live right now.
Yep. Okay, so Audit and Finance Committee report. Here this past week, actually went over everything with the finance team. I'll turn it over to Linda to talk about our statement of revenues and expenditures through January.
Sure. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
As of January 31st, our operating gain is at $7.7 million. Expenses and revenues are still trending the same as prior months. Operating revenues are almost on budget and 4.5% over prior year. Operating expenses, same trends, salaries and wages still trending under budget due to open positions in operations and maintenance. Healthcare, workers' comp, same trends in those areas. The pension benefits are pretty consistent with budget. Purchase transportation still trending over budget. They're performing about 76% of our service at this time. Services and materials and supplies trending under budget, and they may trend closer to budget near the end of the fiscal year in the next couple of months. Fuel still trending over budget due to the increase in costs, and also lower rates were locked in the prior year. And our non-operating revenues trending about 1.5% under budget at this time. MRT is trending over budget, which is still good. Although this month, MRT was about $682,000. That's on the next page after the financial analysis. But still strong. Any questions on the statement of revenues and expenditures?
I told you over
I needed you.
No school and you're late. Come on. Come on. It's not a snow day anymore.
No bus service today.
It's 9:04, come on.
Any questions on revenues and expenditures?
Well, in theory, we're pretty healthy.
Yes.
That's good news.
Mortgage tax receipts was next. As I said, still trending well. Statement of cash flows, currently $21.8 million, including reserves. And lastly, you have your inventory of existing investments, showing our bank accounts and the direct bills that get purchased. And that's it for the financials.
Yeah, strong financial position that the authorities in.
On the cash flow, in the past, the money's coming in from the state was behind, meaning they were slow and
Yeah.
how was it?
Not the case anymore. They're paying right on time. And in fact, should have received our STOA in February and we did. So that's will be reflected in the next month's cash flow.
Very good. No other questions, any motion, please? Robert, second. Monty? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to additional pension contribution for the central defined plans. Authorities in a position. We had a lengthy discussion this past week about making sure that the commitment to the pension is very healthy, which it is, but we're in a position to increase our contribution to decisions like this is when you're in a good financial position to add, to make it as strong as possible, and then you can make a few comments, please.
Oh, I'm gonna let Melissa speak to that. This was her thing.
So the motion is to contribute an additional $1.7 million into our pension plans. That will be $800,000 in the salaried plan and $900,000 in the non-salaried plan. Brian, Chris, Jackie, Chris Morial, Linda, and myself met with Tim Sindel from Alesco and Greg Stump from Boomershine, who's our actuary, last week, the 13th. And we reviewed things like the funding ratio, the current funding ratio, the projected funding ratio, what the projected funding contributions may be in the next year, and then obviously the market conditions. We had the pension review last month, and as of last month, we were down 9%. It has improved slightly, but we're still down about 5%. So with all that information and the recommendation from our actuary, we would like to move forward with this additional contribution before year end.
Well, I want to make sure that everybody's clear. It's not that we're in some dire need with the pension. I want to make sure that everybody understands that.
Yes.
Okay, this is actually some good planning when you're in a position to plan like this. And I think our due diligence by engaging the actuaries, letting them do their analysis of everything, it's just being fiscally prudent. But I just don't want anybody to walk out here and say, oh my God, pension short, we're gonna put 1.7 in, we're not gonna get our checks, okay?
No,
It's
that's
not,
not
it's
the
not, I
case.
just wanna make sure everybody understands it. It's important to know that. Robert?
What about, what is the funding level?
Yeah, so, at the last valuation, which was at end of March, the pension, the salary plan was at 91%, and the non-salary was at 86%. Based on the market conditions through December, the non-salary was at 74%, and the salary was at 78%.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's not.
Fully
Yeah.
funded.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, but you know, sometimes maybe with a little luck or some other power above us, we're going in at the lower part on the market buying, and we could have benefits in the future. Yes. Good. Any questions from Melissa? Okay. Need a motion to bring this to the full board for approval. Monty, second, Robert. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Jeff, on the zero emissions fleet.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, I have the zero emission fleet transition plan, and we are doing this so that we can go to the Lodo grant for 4 hydrogen fuel cell buses. And this is necessary to put into the grant application. Transition plan includes battery electric buses versus hydrogen, comparison between the two, and the hydrogen fuel cell buses is a better fit for us. Not that electric buses are off the table. You never know what the future's going to bring with the electric and how things going. It also has in here our fleet management plan, which is all of our buses, when we received them and when they're going to be coming out of service. And just a note to the board, in 2024 we have 64 CNG buses and 18 diesel buses that were replaced by Gillig, and that's the last of that contract. Going forward after that, we'll be going with zero emission buses. If we do get this grant approved, 4 of the buses will come out with the 60. Other than that, there is workforce development that's pretty important here, to partner with schools and colleges and things to get the education for technicians and maintain the buses. With all that said, we'd like the board to a motion to approve the fleet emissions, zero emission fleet plan.
Questions for Jeff? Pretty straightforward.
This is consistent with what we've been presenting to our state delegation as well, as we've been meeting with.
Have a motion?
When would you know?
September, August?
No, it's actually gonna be about June, July.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
It's sooner than last year, that's good.
The due date is April
This is one of those, they move pretty quick on.
Yeah, they moved up,
Any other questions? Motion? Julius, second? Joe? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, moving into resolutions. Caitlin, electrical service installation, that's, resolution 4A.
Mr. Chairman, good morning, everyone. This is a resolution for the electrical service installation, and this will be paid for with grant funding, 100% state dedicated funds. So this invitation to bid was publicly let on November 15th. We sent out 93 bid packages, 47 of which went to minority and women-owned business enterprises. An additional 8 bids were requested. On January 17th, we received 3 bids, with the lowest responsible bidder being Patricia Electric. They offered a price of $1,129,500. There is a full 30% full for MWBE utilization on this contract, so therefore it is our recommendation that the board award the electrical service installation to Patricia Electric.
And since 90-something went out.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. 3 came in. What's that percentage?
Typical.
Yeah, I know,
They
it's
should get about
like, I'd get scared too if I got our packet. Okay.
Have we worked with Patricia Electric before?
Yes.
They actually
Yeah.
hold our
And
current
do they meet
electrical
their
services.
MWBE?
That's one of my
Yes, they
questions.
have a 30% roll on their current electrical services contract with us as well.
So they're meeting it?
Yes.
Perfect.
Do you have more than one contract with them? Because I guess I'm thinking, if you're doing 6 things, do we get a discount? Or is it just, this is the bid, this is the money, and?
It is a fixed price, low bid, so I mean, they don't give us, hey, we gave you a discount on this line versus any other
And
line.
we-
Even though they may be here on 6 other projects.
Right. I mean, they're here on the regular for our electrical
Right.
services. That's our 5-year, anytime we need any type of electrical.
So we bid this out, companies reply and say, we'll provide
Yeah, I
the services
understand
for
that, yeah.
X. And then once we hire them, then it's just bringing them in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they bid on,
Yeah, I know
their
that,
rate
yeah,
is
it's
for the
just-
hour or
We'll
whatever.
never know how they thought the bid process through, because they did come in as the lowest bid, so maybe,
It was
knowing that
very,
they are.
very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, okay. Any other questions? Good job, Caitlin, on that. Motion, please. Robert, second. Monty, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Christopher, uniform rental and laundry services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone.
It's resolution 4B.
This resolution is for the uniform rental and laundry services contract. This will be paid for using operating funds. The invitation for bid was publicly let on September 15th. 8 bid packages were sent out. An additional 4 bid packages were requested. On October 13th, 1 bid was received from Cintas Corporation. There is a full MWBE waiver that was approved by New York State Empire Development. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the board award the contract for uniform rental and laundry services to Cintas Corporation.
Questions for Chris? Need a motion, bring this forward? Monty, second. Robert, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Moving on to Wegmans. Tara's gonna talk to us about Wegmans.
Mr.
And
Chairman.
then you're gonna talk to us about Tops.
Do I recommend to?
No, go ahead, take them each.
And Adirondack, and Great
Yeah,
Round.
yeah.
It's a terror show today.
It's the terror show right now.
Okay, so shopper bus services are things that we have loops that hit certain Wegmans stores throughout the Syracuse area and at various locations where riders can hop on a bus, go to Wegmans, get what they need, and go back to their original destination. So this is a revenue earning contract, and it brings in excess of $100,000 a year. So I'm asking for an approval for a full year contract beginning April 1st.
Question, well,
Do the passengers pay?
No, it's subsidized by Wegmans, yes.
side question, I know we're not there yet. Price Chopper's not on the list, or?
They are on the list, but it doesn't exceed the amount of money that would need board approval.
They let me sign off on that one.
Any other questions? Okay. Need a motion to bring it forward?
So moved.
questions? Okay, Anthony, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, and we're gonna move into tops.
Tops is the same scenario. There are various stores that the Lowe's picked. Same situation, approximately $50,000 worth of revenue comes in on that contract. We're looking for a year beginning April 1st.
Any other questions on tops? Okay, same thing. Motion, Anthony. Second, Monty, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, moving into the Adirondack Transit Line lease agreement.
They are also known as Trailways. I'm going to talk in tandem, if you'll allow me, with the following resolution for Greyhound, because one kind of ties into the other.
Sure.
So Trailways was a sub-affiliate to Greyhound. They're a lessee at the RTC. They have since parted ways as of last summer. Trailways, however, did want to stay on at the RTC as a vendor. So now we have gone through and created a space and a lease for them. They will operate outside of Greyhound now. What they are also going to do is share the back space behind the RTC. There's a loading, unloading, parking, and storage area. Greyhound has agreed to split that space with them, so now they will work together and use the same space but divided completely in half. One will have one area, one will have the other. So the Trailways contract is going to be a 10-year contract with 2 5-year renewals, and that will start March 1st with your approval. And the current monthly rate for them is $2,600 and change. And Greyhound's contract will reduce by $280 a month for the outdoor parking line only for the duration of their contract.
So they're still gonna be out the same amount of years?
Correct.
Both of them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We're not changing terms, we are just changing the amount of outside space that they use.
Correct. Questions to Tara with this? Okay, we'll take, the first one, we'll take, the Adirondack Transit Line lease, need a motion? Okay, Julius, second, Robert, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We'll take the next one, which is.
Actually, I just want to take a second to compliment Tara on that one. That was not an easy, Trailways and, I'm being recorded now, so I'll be nice. Trailways and Greyhound, it was not an easy, split. Okay, so the attorneys in the room who have handled a bitter divorce before. Kind of, she did a great job though. She stayed on there, she really worked that, really well, and so, thank you.
We're also now, resolution for 4F Greyhound. Need a motion? Anthony, second. Monty, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Trams designation of authority. Tara, 4G.
Okay, this particular resolution, TRANS is the FTA or the Federal Transit Administration's online portal software. So anytime we have to apply for a grant or certify a grant, have compliance reports due, it happens in that portal. We have not updated the individuals that use that portal or have the authority to post on our behalf since 2013. So what I'd like to do is update everybody's titles, and we have some backup individuals, if need be, to submit grants in that software, and namely certifications and assurances. We do those annually. We used to do them ink and paper. Now the FTA is requesting that both Ryan and Brad sign off those virtually in the portal. So this will give us the authority to allow individuals into that
So
software.
we're cleaning up some housekeeping.
Yes.
Cleanup. Okay. Any questions for Tara on that? Okay. Need a motion? Julius, second? Anthony? Any discussion? All in favor? moving into the 5307, 5339 funds and funds application.
Oh, this was the terror show, huh?
It
I thought
is.
you were joking.
Go ahead, girl, you doing good.
All right, all right.
This resolution is to authorize me to create and submit the grant application for federal fiscal year 2023 for both 5307 and 5339 funds. The program of projects or the planned projects that are in that grant are following your resolution, so there's a fact sheet behind it. There are various projects that total approximately $17 million. So I'm asking for permission to submit this application to the DOT.
Questions on permission to go after some money?
Do you have a backup?
Do I have a backup?
Right. So you're asking for permission for you if you're sick or get hit by the bus?
EJ Moses is my backup for the time being.
It's bus company.
It's a terrible analogy.
You know, here you throw each other under a car. not a bus.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
That's not even bus humor.
You slip on the snow,
There we
That was
go.
better.
going to Wegmans, you know?
All right, Bonnie, we'll talk
Not
later offline.
not coming off the regular shopper bus stuff.
Okay,
Right.
No, let me take the shot.
okay, motion for resolution 4H. What was it, Monty? Yeah, Monty, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, and to close it out, Tara, on the transit infrastructure grant, that's I, resolution 4I. Got pretty far down.
So the transit infrastructure grant, this was an application that was submitted to Senator Schumer. Last year, we were awarded $3 million to put toward our BRT project. So now what happens, once we go through the application, the approval process, then it has to switch hands over to the FTA. So this approval is for me to submit that application now to the FTA in order to access that $3 million.
Okay, Monty made that motion. Second, Robert. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Very good. Tara, you did a good job today.
Thank you. With your permission, Mr. Chairman, I do have a corrected trailways resolution for you. There was an error in the one that you have in the packet, so I do have an updated version of
Okay,
everything.
very good.
Thank you.
Okay, good job. Good job with everybody. Linda, what else do we have?
Nothing else for this meeting, just letting everybody know next month we will be bringing the operating budget and capital budget for the final.
Yeah, both of our budgets will be coming forward. Very good. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break, then we'll resume at 9:30. Of allegiance, Carlos, you're gonna lead us. You got a couple jobs over there. All right.
Catholic school.
We all set?
Yep. Okay. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a quorum present. Our next meeting will be March 24th. We'll have a future meeting, we'll have the Audit and Finance Committee. At this time, I need a motion to approve the regular minutes of January 27th.
So moved.
So moved by Julius. Do I have a second?
Second.
Monty? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. At this point, I'd like to turn this over to Brian to recognize our employees for reaching their productivity milestones. We refer to that as our RPM.
Excellent.
And this is probably what makes our jobs here on the board the best, to recognize great employees. Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So each quarter we do award presentations. Christopher and I go around to the outside properties as well. This past quarter's end was the year end as well, so we have the annual awards for Operator of the Year, Maintenance Employee of the Year, and then we've got Rookie Operator of the Year, and we added a new one this year as the Rookie Maintenance for the year. So I'm going to turn it now over to Christopher, and he's going to give you a little presentation on each of these wonderful employees.
Thank you, Brian. Just so the board is aware, the individuals for these annual awards, there's certain criteria and requirements they have to meet. So typically with the quarterly productivity, you have to meet 3 out of the 4 quarters to then be eligible for the annual award. The last 2 years, each one of these individuals that have been awarded have met all 4 quarters, all 4 criteria for each year. For the Rookie of the Year, the only caveat is they have to be an employee of Centro for less than 2 years. Because we have different hiring dates, we've expanded it to be a 2-year window, so they have a full opportunity to see 4 quarters in the time frame. We're going to present each one of these individuals with a trophy. We do a round of applause and we do photos. I'm going to ask that we hold the round of applause until we finish and then present the awards to every one of them, photo opportunities to follow. So the first award we're going to put up is for Rookie of the Year for the operator side. This individual was awarded, again, as I said, less than 2 years here with Centro. He is an operator out of our Auburn location, our Cayuga County operations. Comes highly spoke about from our management out in Auburn as far as a individual that's willingness to go above and beyond, eager to step up any time that there is some time that they need help, assistance, additional work, helping in the office, helping in the garage. So we want to honor this person with the Rookie of the Year for Operator Dominic Valerio.
Yeah, obviously, we're not gonna follow directions.
Nah. We do a quarterly award, they don't do it that year.
But we heard you, Chris.
I was
Is that bad?
Great job.
It's
Great
like
job.
teaching.
Would you like any words? Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Good job, well done. The first one's the tougher one.
Yeah, it's all right. So the next one we're gonna do is the Rookie of the Year for the maintenance employee. As Brian highlighted, when we first started this program back in April of 21, we didn't initially start with a Rookie of the Year for maintenance. But based on the hiring and what we do, typically we hire more operators than we do with the maintenance department. But we felt, we wanted to recognize these individuals in the maintenance department for their dedication and being a new hire on, to continue on with the company. So this individual, another one that has been here less than 2 years and actually works in our service or cleaner department here in Syracuse. So they work on the night shift, they come in, they clean, fuel, and prepare our buses for the next morning every day. There's a group of them that are here on a nightly basis, Monday through Friday. We do have some individuals that work weekends. This individual was also a great example of a new employee in the maintenance department that steps up, comes in every day ready to work and eager to work. So we wanted to recognize Vladimir Morhun for his dedication for the last 2 years.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
So the next award, we're going to get into our annual awards, the Operator of the Year Award. So in the last presentation for the quarterly awards, as well as adding the Maintenance Rookie of the Year, we also added another criteria which we call the Mile Marker Award. So this is to recognize individuals as they meet the criteria every year, quarter after quarter, all 4 criteria. So that's no accidents, no customer complaints, no attendance issues, no discipline issues. For all 4 quarters, since we started the inception of the program, the individual that we're recognizing for the Operator of the Year has actually gone all 7 consecutive quarters with 0 accidents, customer complaints, attendance issues, discipline issues. So because of that, we wanted to continue to recognize there's individuals that are making these strides. So that's where the Mile Marker Award came from, based on this individual's performance. So we want to recognize Lilia Timoshuk for her 16 years and being an outstanding employee to continue to meet this criteria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And the last one is the Maintenance Employee of the Year. So again, the criteria that I outlined beforehand, this individual is a 33-year veteran to the maintenance department here in Syracuse. As Jeff had talked about in his report last month, that we've had vendors giving us opportunities to do some work in-house for warranty work. Specifically, he mentioned the transmissions last month with our training. This individual has also in the past, prior to his transition to the engine department, been our go-to guy for when it came to wheelchair lift issues, which is a big important to us and the service we provide. His knowledge of the fueling station, his knowledge of the engine shop has allowed us to take a lot of these programs in-house. So we want to recognize Mike Hyde for his dedication to the community and Central.
Michael, 33 years.
33 years.
Hell of an honor.
Been a long road. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Hey, Brian, I'd like to make a request. Should all 3 of the people who you had to watch take a picture?
4.
You got
4. It was
Yep,
hopefully
4.
you guys.
4? Oh, okay, I know.
Do what?
Take a picture with
Take a
you know,
photo.
all 4 of
All
them
of
and
them
do
together.
that.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great. It's all about a team. We'll bring it over here. Good point. In the middle.
Where's he taking the picture from? That's the question. Okay, all right, we go.
Yeah, that's all guys. We all gonna get in. All right, here we go. Testing Casey's skills right now.
And my flexibility. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. And the last one, big smiles. Ready, 1, 2, and 3.
Hey.
All right.
I worry about his posture because I've never seen him actually stand normal.
Yeah, if you guys, you're more than welcome to stay. If not, Casey's going to do some photo ops with you guys, so you can follow him up. He has the trophy boxes for you as well.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
guys.
thank you, folks.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Stay for the meeting.
Nice job. Good. A lot of good things happen here, really do. Got some good dedicated employees, we've learned that over the years. A lot of good employees.
Yeah, just a quick mention too, this program is working, you know, we started out, what we do is we kind of look at how much we could pay out on a quarterly basis, then the percentage of what we are, we were in the low 40s, we're up over 50% now. So it's edging up, the employees are excited about it, they're striving and trying to get that because there is a monetary award. And the other thing we just started instituting too, if you want to talk a little bit, the safe driving and the consecutiveness.
Well, the mile marker award is similar, ties into our safe driving award. So for an annual basis, these individuals that go consecutively every year without an accident, you know, we give a monetary bonus of $250. Every consecutive year thereafter, they get an additional $50. So you do it year one, it's $250. Year two is $300, $350, year three. The mile marker is a similar function of that. So they get a continuation of $200 and then $250, $300. So every year. So in this individual, you know, she's on the trend for 2 years in a row. She'll end up with the bonus of making the mile marker, and then next year she'll do it again, and it increases that way as well. So we're, you know, it's there. They're making the attempts to do it, and we're seeing those numbers increase.
I think on behalf of the board, we want to recognize Brian and Chris and the team for this type of recognition. I think so many times, so many companies don't take the time to recognize their people, and I think it's a shame, and I'm glad that we have this in place. Very, very proud of it.
I noticed this one thing too, since I retired, sometimes I ride the bus just to see what the drivers go through and stuff like that. I haven't done this much this winter because it's been cold, but usually I try to do that to ride to see what they go the whole route with.
We got heat on the buses. they're all heated.
Yeah. It's amazing what they go through, have to go through.
It
I
is.
see some that
It really is.
custom that they have to deal with.
It's a nice word, retired you, Matt. Okay.
I'm coming back. I don't know when, but I'm coming back.
Okay, we're gonna shift the meeting around to Audit and Finance Committee because I have to exit. So at this point, we're gonna go through the motions and the resolutions. All these motions and resolutions were discussed in detail. We'll start out with our first motion that needs to be approved. Linda gave a great report on the finances and the strong position that the authority is in right now based on expenditures and revenues. A motion was made at the committee to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion at this point? Julius, second. Robert, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, after I think Melissa gave a great presentation, you sat in a seat where there used to be somebody else there usually, so I got confused. You kicked them out, now the old man kicked them out. You notice these things sometimes. To put an additional $1.7 million into the pension plan for this salary and the non-salary employees. After consultation with our actuaries and other fiscal advisors, decision was made to put some more money into the pension fund. And at this point, a motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Anthony. Second, Robert. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, Jeff, the update on our zero emissions fleet plan, which seems to be coming around a little bit earlier than we expected. So we're happy to participate in that. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. Can I have a motion? Monty, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Caitlin brought together Resolution 4A with a awarding contract to Patricia Electric for services. They were the lowest responsible bidder based on 3 bidders that came through, right? 3. And a motion was made to bring that to the board for approval. Can I have a motion? Anthony, second. Monty, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Chris brought forward Resolution 4B to award contract for the uniform rental and laundry services to Cintas. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion, please? Julius, Joe, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Tara, explain to us the service that is given for, I'm gonna bundle these, resolution 4C and 4D for Wegmans. It's a service for our riders and also tops. Because of the dollar amount threshold is needed to come to the board. At this point, may I have a motion to approve this? Anthony, second. Julia, Monty. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Resolution. I'm going to bundle these two, Counselor. Okay. Resolution 4E and 4F. Adirondack and Greyhound at one point they had a relationship together.
Yes.
Okay, they've now kind of went separate ways, so we needed to remodify the existing contract. Was it the existing or not?
No, Greyhound stays, we just
Okay.
added an additional lessee contract.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks for the clarification. A motion was made to approve these agreements. Can I have a motion? Julius, second. Robert, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Resolution 4G. Tram's designation of authority. This was more of something that needed to be updated. Some housekeeping here to make sure we had the right titles, the right people involved with the transmitter. Permission. Okay. Motion was made to bring this to the full board for approval. Can I have a motion? Monty, second. Anthony, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Resolution 4H, motion to approve 5307, 5339 grant funds application. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Okay, Robert, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor to accept money? Aye. The Transit Infrastructure Grant. Senator Schumer's grant, it was $3 million. This motion was made to, it's resolution 4I. Motion was made to approve this. Could I have a motion? Joe, second. Monty, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Anything else from finance, Linda? We good? Okay, very good. I want to excuse myself now. Okay, I'm going to wait just for one other thing, and then I'm going to leave. Okay, go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Carlos, I just want to, we're going to throw up here on the screen, we've mentioned before that the operator's room is going through, will be going through a renovation. We're going to go out to the street for RFPs for the contract work. I just want to show you some renderings. So what we've got here is, you're going to see like the current view. So this right here is if you walked in from like the, what we call the HR row, HR hallway, and you walk into the operator's room, this is what you see. That's the current, it's all outdated, flooring's old, lockers are old, everything. So the next slide is going to show you, that's the same view. So everything will be updated. That room that you see right there with the computer screens, it's going to be like a, it's not a room, but it's going to be a little area there where the operators are going to have access to some computers, to access their company email, check out the company intranet site. Off to the left there will remain, that hasn't changed, that's the dispatch window. So that's this kind of the same view as you just kind of step in. That's the computer area where that individual is sitting, which will be the new computer area. Okay, Carlos, go ahead. That's what it's going to look like there. A little couple workstations. All right, go ahead. That right there is coming from the other way. So this is kind of having your back to the vending machines that are in there. You can see that's the old, what we call the McDonald's seating. It's the chairs that don't move, they're all bolted and cemented into the floor. So we're gonna change that up a little bit. That one wall is coming out. So that'll be all movable seating, much more comfortable, freshening everything up, new flooring. Go ahead. That right there is a view, so that's the current vending that we have there. And that's what it's gonna look like. That half wall is gonna come out, so it's gonna be a more open floor plan. The vending look that you see there, that's gonna be different too. We're also going out for a new vending contract. And hopefully we're gonna be providing what are called fresh options. So it'll be more, you can grab a fresh salad, a fresh sandwich, some healthier choices, so it's not the heart attack sandwich that's in the vending machine. And there's a different view there, so that's kind of your back to the opposite walls. If you look across, there's a hanging monitor there that's constantly updating on different events and so forth that are going on within the company. It's just kind of a constant scrolling of information, and the vending will be off to the right there. So it's going to be it's a big project. I wanted you to see ahead of time. We're in the $500,000 range probably for this.
This is one thing that Brian and his team, I know a lot of people here have had input on this. For years we used to walk through, and it's these operators and maintenance, they really need a nice, respectful place to just hang their hat, to bring it down a little bit. And this is all about the plan of a more supportive work environment, friendly work environment for the people that deserve it. So I want to thank Brian and his team. I know a lot of you had parts in this. I probably think I know who had the color part of this. Okay. And but it's good. I think it's something for us to be proud of for the employees, and I think it's going to go a long way. What do you think, Frank?
I think it's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
we wanted to do this last year, if you remember, and some of you have actually seen, we built a pavilion outside because this will displace people, they won't be able to use this room. We built a pavilion outside so that they have a place to sit. They're out of if it's raining, they're at least going to be out of that. It's lit.
And another project we did was that communications area, right?
Yeah, dispatch is done.
That was something that was that needed a
So
help.
this was delayed a little bit because we needed to have that pavilion in place before we proceeded forward on this. So, but now we're there. We're going to get this out on the street. Hopefully, get the bids back in, and the goal is to begin construction as soon as the weather breaks, and we can do it.
Caitlin, what's the status on?
Bids are due on March 3rd.
So,
So that'll be the day that's when they got to come back. Then we'll have our review process and move forward. So.
Everybody have a good weekend. I'll see you next month.
Travel safely.
You got it.
Thanks.
Brian, quick question. When we went through the audit report and we had all the resolutions, could we have done that as a consent agenda when we got back to the main meeting, since we had just went through them all?
What do you mean?
A consent agenda where we voted on all of them because we had just went through them.
Vote all of them instead of one by one?
Yes.
I think you probably could. I think there's something to be said for voting for each one individually, just,
The only reason I ask is we do that
Yeah.
in the district, but if anyone has a problem with any of them, we
Right.
pull it out of the consent agenda.
Right.
And the rest of them just go.
But you can, because we,
consent
like
agenda.
Nick had us bundle a
We
couple that
typically
were.
we separate out motions versus resolutions.
Okay.
We've always done that. You could bundle the resolutions.
And unless somebody has a problem with something, we
Yeah.
pull
Right.
it out,
Go
so
back
they
to
can vote
that.
the way they want.
That one they have a problem with.
But it just saves a lot of time, that's the
Right.
only reason I asked.
Yeah, well, and the only other reason we've historically gone through them is because not everybody attends.
Okay.
The audit and finance committee where they're discussed in detail,
Gotcha.
and then it's a motion to bring it to the full board. So the full board then acts on each individual one. And if it was somebody that couldn't be here for audit and
Understood.
finance, then
Yeah,
they are
they
here
would
for
be
the
here.
board meeting.
That makes sense.
you know, somebody that's more than 4 minutes late, you know, if they were.
Really? Really? That's what we do it?
With no school leaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
I got a fire shot every once in a while.
This was a classroom. That door's locked.
Good enough. Thank you. Thank you for that explanation.
Okay.
The
And now
real-
pitch hitting.
Yes.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
And my pay grade is on the.
That's right. Well, you get chairman pay instead of vice chairman pay.
Resolution number.
Matter of fact, you'll get triple.
Thank you. Yeah, at this point of the meeting, I'd like it to turn it over to Brian for the chief executive report.
Thank you, sir. So my written report was included. We continue to draw down on our ARP funds. We've drawn down a little over 9 million of the 38 million we have available. We had a busy month. We met with the Syracuse Comic Council. This is the first time in a long time that Centro has been asked to come to a council meeting or even a committee meeting. This was the Transportation Committee. So myself, Chris, Steve, and Bren went and presented to the Transportation Committee. There was also several, this was something that, so they published their agendas and their committee meetings in advance. It's on their website. So because we were a topic there, it actually drew quite a bit of activity. There was a number of people there from the public. There was some media there. We discussed BRT, the bike and scooter, our employment or hiring issues that we're having along with everybody else. So that wasn't news to anybody, but all in all, it was a great presentation or a great opportunity for us. RPM, Chris is going to talk a little bit more about that. As we mentioned earlier, we had our quarterly awards. We did our traveling road show. Rome On Demand, so myself, Chris, Steve, Bren, and Chairman Lano joined us for a meeting with Mayor Izzo of Rome to go and discuss implementing on-demand service. That's going to be the first area that we, am I missing something?
No, Brent, they had a conversation with Brent earlier.
Oh, okay. So we, that'll be the first, we're gonna roll that out in our smallest property just because it's easier. And then we can hopefully, learn from any mistakes that we have there before we then roll it out to the larger parts of our property. They were very excited. They're glad to see that's coming to Rome. And we'll have more information on that as we proceed. Our goal is to have that up and running by the fall of this year. Northeast Community Center, Jackie, Amanda Wilson, and I met with Donna Moore. She's the director of the workforce development there. What they do is they work with their clientele who are currently not employed. They're typically, from the lower income current jobs, if they do have them, and they're looking to get them into a more livable wage, permanent employment type environment. So we discussed with them not just bus operators, maybe a mechanic or cleaner servicer, call bus opportunities, call takers, full-time, part-time opportunities. She was excited to hear about all the opportunities here at Centro. NIPTA Executive Committee, we meet frequently, but on February 3rd we met in advance of our meetings that took place on the 6th and 7th in Albany to kind of set our agenda, and that'll just dovetail right into the next bullet there. Chris and I went to Albany. Capitol Hill Management is the new management service that NIPTA hired. So we met at their offices. That's where NIPTA will be operating out of. So on day one, which was Monday the 6th, we had our NIPTA board meeting with Capitol Hill. On day two, which was the 7th, we actually went to Capitol, met with several Assembly and Senate members to discuss our budget needs from an association standpoint. The executive budget came out with a 7.1% increase in STOA. And, you know, and it's important to point out too that, yes, that sounds great, sounds like a lot. But when STOA you know, is about half of our operating budget, it's a 3.5% increase, not really 7, when you look at our overall budget. Because, you know, if ridership stays stagnant, advertising, contracts outside of that are growing at 3 and 4 and 5 and 6%. So it's important to note that, but NIPTA's ask is actually a 20% increase. So we are, so we met with Senate and Assembly members asking for 20%. Chris and I have also had individual meetings with almost all of our local delegation. Here in Syracuse, we met with them or their staff to present the 20% number. And it's meeting with a fair amount of support. You know, as the Assembly side, I know that the Assembly One House budget letter went into the governor with that 20% included. We're hoping to get the same on the Senate side. I don't believe that's going to be an issue because one of the, you know, Senator Kennedy out of Buffalo chairs the Senate Transportation Committee, and the 20% was actually his ask. You know, that was part of his goal. So hopefully we'll get that, but you know, we are starting at the 7.1% number. I just mentioned we met with some of the local delegation, so we did have a meeting with Senator May's staff to introduce the 20% ask. And then we also, throughout the month, we continue to do our capital planning meetings, recruiting, RPM, revenue contracts, meeting with SMTC, low, no emission, IVI transportation consultants. So this is a very busy time for us, especially with all the different initiatives that we have going on. And then I'll stop for a second and see if anybody's got any questions.
So, and you're asking, I'm thinking you're thinking ahead also with Micron coming and whatever else is coming. They understand that too, I gotta believe.
They do, and so part of the information that Chris and I go around and present, it's, you know, we have there's 4 pieces in there. So one is the Centro letter, which I can email out to you and I can share that with you. And in that, so it kind of says, here's what it would look like with the 20% increase, and this is how we would use it.
Okay.
So we have BRT is going to be an additional expense. We're going to have some additional operating expense there. On-demand service is going to be an additional expense. We might have some additional expense with the I-81 when they start tearing that down, and if we're going to be operating park and rides. And we did include Micron in that, even though Micron, you know, the shovel won't be in the ground in this fiscal year.
But
Looking
it's
off into the
yeah,
future,
you gotta start planning.
there could be additional service, and we've had some preliminary meetings with Micron as well.
Did you also talk about the changes in the I-81 viaduct? You know, to change that?
Yeah, you said, yeah.
You just said.
Yeah, so that could include some park and ride for us. The lawsuit that's going on with I-81 right now, so when you look at the I-81 project, there's actually like 5 different contracts within that.
Right.
The first 3 won't be touched by this lawsuit, so, you know, that's the, to kind of consolidate all 3 is gonna be the widening of 481, the additional on and off ramps coming off of 690, a lot of the prep work that needs to be done before they can even begin tearing down the viaduct, that comes into contracts 4 and 5. So those are off out in the future. The lawsuit isn't looking they're not asking to have everything revisited. They're kind of trying to slow things down, basically. They're being the problem if they can be a problem. You know, and so they really want the environmental review redone. They're saying that it wasn't done properly. However, if they go back and redo the environmental review and everything works out fine there, it's still going to be a community grid. It's still going to tear down the viaduct. It's still going to be great for that south side of the community. And
Ryan, who chairs the Transportation Committee for the Common Council? Which one of them?
Jen Schultz.
Okay.
No relation. Great friend. Known her for a long time.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions? All right, we're gonna move on to senior staff reports. Christopher.
Thank you, Brian. To follow up with the RPM program, as Brian talked about, we, aside from the annual awards, we also recognize years of service and commitment to the community and to Centro across all 4 counties. But during that, we also awarded the quarterly award winners for the 4th quarter of 2022. So I just want to highlight them. They are not here, but the operator of the quarter was recognized 25 years of service in our Utica location. So that was awarded to Johnny Perez. And for the maintenance of the quarter was awarded to actually an individual in our Auburn location, 35-year employee who is a mechanic out there. Currently, he is operating in Auburn kind of on his own. His second shift mechanic retired at the beginning of 22, and we're in the process of training his replacement. So he's done an outstanding job out there to keep their fleet running pretty much by himself. So we recognized him in the 4th quarter as well.
His name?
Is Steve Rhodes. So he's out of our Arcadia location there. And as we continue, we would present our next awards, our next set of awards for the 1st quarter of 2023, which would be for the January, February, March. We usually do that at the end of April. By the time we close out the quarter, close out the actual month of March for disciplinary purposes, we would do our awards at the end of April, put together all the data. And for this quarter, we are going to do it on a Friday.
Yeah, so we're going to do something a little different. Typically, we do a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, we go to Oswego and then hit Auburn. Wednesday, we go to the Utica property, and then on Thursdays, we do Syracuse. We're going to move the Thursday one to Friday, right after the board meeting, so that if any of you can join us and see what it is. I'm sure the employees would love to see the board members there. We do it right out here in the garage where the holiday party was. We bring in food, we do a presentation. You guys will have to dance a little bit. But that's all right. We can prep you on that ahead of time. Maybe sing. I know Tony wants to sing.
Like the superintendent thing, I can see it coming already.
We still being recorded, right?
Yeah.
No comment.
So we would like to extend that invite to you guys to join us for that presentation. And if there's any questions, if not, that concludes my report.
Thanks, Chris. Jackie.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, just a little update on human resources and what we've been doing in the department. We recently hired 2 qualified 19A training instructors. The reason being, obviously, to assist in the training of our new operators that we have coming in, the fact that we need more new operators to come in. They're also going to be performing 19A yearly assessments, so every driver that we have out there has to go through a 19A assessment behind the road, and they have to be followed with their driving to make sure that they're driving adequately, along with an oral and written test that they're given. They're going to be also mentoring these new drivers that are coming in, which we thought was really important for these new trainees who come in, and they will be conducting refresher and company mandatory training classes for all employees in the company. The reason why we did this is because in the past we used to actually rob operations of the supervisors. And we used to have the supervisors doing this, where now we actually have people who can focus on this instead. The 2 that we have hired, Rob McCarthy is one of the trainers. He comes to us from Oswego. He has 8 years of training new bus operators and performing 19A assessments. And Khalil Franks, who is actually from Syracuse, who has 2 years of it. So we're really looking forward to it, and we're excited about this new endeavor that we're approaching. And just on a good note, they jumped right in when we hired them, and our trainees this past week passed their EDL federal test, which is the entry-level driver test, skill test that they have to go through in order to even perform the road test. So they all passed. So now we're on our way, and they can actually go to the road test and perform the road test on March 7th. So hopefully they'll all pass, and we'll have them on the road soon.
How many you have in there?
18 right now.
Beautiful.
So we've lost a couple, but there's still.
That's still pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're hoping that we finish that strong too. In addition, we've hired 3 new Colobus transportation coordinators. This is not additional positions that we've added to the company at all. They were basically to replace people that had left the company and people that we lost during the pandemic. So now we're back up to equal where we can handle the call volume that's been coming into Colobus. Lastly, hiring events. We're going to be very busy this next month. Central is going to be present on March 9th from 9:30 to 11 at the OCM BOCES Adult Employment Fair that they're going to be having out in Liverpool. The next day, we are going to be present at the Jubilee Homes hiring event on March 10th from 10 to 2 at Beecham Library. They're going to be holding it. And next, on March 15th from 10 to 1, there's going to be a Syracuse mini job fair that CNY Works is going to be holding too, that we'll be present at. Along with, of course, our hiring event, which will be taking place on March 25th. So hopefully we'll get a lot of feedback and a lot more applications coming through the door. Yes, Julius?
Are there going to be, for people to apply for Colobus, is there going to be any additional changes in there, or are you going to be the same? Does that make sense?
So you mean actually people from Colobus have
No.
applications so they can ride our system?
Right.
We can have that at Jubilee Homes
Yeah.
event. I can ask Josh Gardner to have a representative from Colobus there
Yeah, because
with us.
a lot of people
Absolutely.
was saying to me, they didn't know, some of the older people didn't know how to apply for Colobus and such.
Sure, sure. I will add that note, and I will have somebody from Colobus there present.
At one point, we were talking about adding bus monitors to certain things. Are we doing that? Have we done that?
We've actually hired 2 part-time bus monitors. They came in February, the week of February 13th, I want to say they started for us.
Last Monday.
And they went through some training this week, and I think, are they going to start getting on
Yeah.
the buses, Chris?
So we did the training in-house, just company policies, getting them well-versed on the school district contract and the rules that apply to their bus passes there, and started the training process, to bringing them to the schools, meeting the administrators at the drop-off pickup locations. So they're in the process of that as we speak.
Are all those positions going to be part-time?
Yes, it'd be a part-time, because they'll work, the setup is they'll be here for the morning, for the picking up of the school kids and dropping them off, and then they'll have some downtime, and then they'll come back in the afternoon to do the pickup at the school and drop off. And then as needed, depending on how things go, but we targeted it as a part-time position to follow that. They have the same school schedule, so they'll have breaks off just like they are this week. Summer's off, and then the school observed holidays they'll have off as well. We're looking to hire 4 more is our target. We're working through that process, and we've been actively recruiting for those. We've had some people in the mix, but some of them didn't work out. So we're looking to have 6 total.
Thanks.
Any other questions? That concludes
Thanks,
my
Jackie.
report. Thank you.
Mike?
Thank you, Brian. Good morning, everybody. I'll start off by talking a little bit about the project we've got going on right now. Bruce Fong, our new AVP, has come on board looking for us to retool some of the things that we do in IT. So we purchased a Ethoscope from NetAlley, which really helps us to analyze the things that are going on in the network itself. It can help troubleshoot any breaks in any of the wires and the wireless signals as well too. He also suggested we look at a new application called Landscape, which is a network monitoring tool, which does a couple things for us. Just kind of an inventory of everything, as well as will send us an alert if something tries to connect to the network that's not a known piece of system that we have. Those are 2 things that we've purchased and are moving on. Looking forward to this. I think it's going to work really well. We also, maintenance connections, we haven't had it quite live for a year yet. We had to do an upgrade this past week. And after through testing and other things, so on and so forth, we went live on Wednesday, still had a couple of issues. One which was emailing the work orders and so on and so forth and stuff. Carlos actually troubleshot that, fixed that for us. Then we had a follow-up work order that wasn't actually firing off. Jim Anderson, our SQL Server database person, realized that there were some things that weren't happening there, and again, Carlos reached out to our crew and support and got in contact with them within an hour. They figured out what that was. So it was a configuration system that needed to be done. So kudos to Carlos and to Jim Anderson for that as well too. Upcoming, we're going to continue doing the desktop refresh. We've got some more systems in this past week, and we're also going to be taking a look at and evaluating our network itself. Is there any better ways we can actually configure the systems that we actually have and monitor those as well too? Any questions?
Are you trying to tell us that technology changes?
A little bit,
Okay.
constantly.
Constantly, yeah.
Constantly, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Steve?
Good morning, everybody. As Jackie mentioned, we're going to have another open house here on March 25th. We put together another commercial, kind of a follow-up to the first commercial that we had that we showed. We enticed people to come here and get behind the wheel of a bus, so we kind of followed up with it and kind of did a sequel, so to speak.
Hey Central New York, don't miss your chance to join Centro. That's right, we're running it back. Centro's hosting another open house because we need more of you. We're also looking for mechanics and body shop techs to keep those big buses running. So check us out at 200 Portland Ave on Saturday, March 25th from 9 a.m. to noon and drive a 40-foot bus around a closed course. You need to be 21 or over with a valid driver's license and a CDL permit to get hired. So join our drug-free team and make Centro the next stop on your career path.
So we have a star in the making. So we're hopeful that this will, again, if we can get 80 more people to show up on March 25th, we'd be very happy and get another, maybe a couple dozen bus operators in the process of getting behind the wheel. So they're fun to do. Casey Brown does a great job with them, and Lynette. This will be appearing on television and on a smartphone near you pretty soon. So you have Roku or any type of streaming service that has commercials, we're going to buy time on them, and also some radio stations as well. So
I do want to give some
very
kudos to
excited.
Steve's team. I mean, that's all produced in-house. I mean, most companies have to go out and hire
It's great
production
quality.
companies to do all that. It's all done here.
I watched the William Matar commercials, all right, and then I take a look at ours.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
They do a great job.
I noticed on Wednesday past at the Destiny, you didn't have anybody at the job fair there, but you do have somebody. You do have the bus thing up on the monitor there. There's quite a bit of attendance at the job fair on Wednesday. Central wasn't there for the desk, but you do have on as your entrance center. But one thing I noticed about the schedule there, some people have asked me, where's the schedule for Central Red used to be up there where you have the people? So they can look and see when the bus coming through. I know a lot of people.
The monitors or the paper schedules?
Well, you can look at the schedule of the bus where they're coming through to Destiny. I know a lot of people go on their phone and stuff like that, but a lot of people don't. You don't go on their phone.
Yeah, we've
You thought
checked
about
in.
that?
That's controlled by Destiny.
Okay.
And what happens is they often have to reboot the computer.
Mhm.
When we find out about it, we tell them to reboot the computer. If it reboots, resets it. They're probably having maybe some connectivity issues that we'll double check on again.
Monty, what's the retired guy doing at a job fair?
See what's out there. Let's see what's out there. Thinking ahead.
Some just don't sound right.
Give you a little update on ridership. January was another a good rebound month. Our city ridership overall, when you combine all the city ridership, was at about 63%, which is a good number considering there was one less weekday and one additional Sunday. So when you really do an apples to apples comparison, it's probably closer to 65% of where we were pre-pandemic. That's very good. I think that probably when we get into the next fiscal year, we're probably going to be looking at about 65, maybe a little over 65% from pre-pandemic numbers. So slowly, but it's going in the right direction. We're very encouraged with that. Overall, it was about 70% when you add in our contracted services for Syracuse University, Board of Education. So again, that's still about where it's been for the past few months. So it's a process. When we get more drivers, we can get more service back on the street in Syracuse, so we can get more service back on the street in Syracuse. I expect those numbers to go up because there are rides out there. You put more buses out there, we'll get more people riding.
And that is pretty similar to our sister properties up and down the thruway too. The percentage number, and they're also seeing a higher or quicker rebound in the Apollo bus or paratransit.
That's not one, that's one.
Yeah.
You know, when during the middle of the pandemic, the only service we provided that did not get moved at all was shopper buses. Ridership on shopper buses throughout the pandemic was the same. Just that clientele, they're transit dependent, they need the services, and they'll use it no matter what's going on. With that, I want to turn it over to Brent Dice to give you an update on some of the special projects that you've heard about a little bit, show you a little more detail. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
So again, I just wanted to give you a couple updates on our special projects that have been happening this month. Our planning consultant, IBI Group, will be here next week, actually. So we're excited. With BRT, we are going to start the update of the Smart One study that was completed in 2018. That'll take about 6 months. So as that progresses, I'll have more information on how that's going. In addition, IBI will be working on our on-demand program, and you heard Brian talk about Rome being our first community to start that. We have some ideas of how our routes might work best and how our zones might work best, and so we are working with IBI to get a better understanding of our technology needs and our vehicle needs and driver needs, and then we'll start in Rome, so we're excited about that. In addition, the Exploring Tomorrow's Transit, that public outreach effort is going well. We've had 7 events so far in the community. We've been at Winterfest, at Salt City Market. We've been invited to and attended several community meetings, as well as going to OCC and Justice USA. And we have several other pop-up events scheduled coming up at the Dome and the Regional Market. Those events, again, are aimed at bringing riders and non-riders to our survey so that we can get a better understanding of the needs of the community. And our next steps will be open houses around Onondaga County. That will happen at the Salt City Market, probably Liverpool Public Library and the Beecham Center, possibly other locations. We've also got door hangers on all of our buses so that riders are scanning the QR code and able to go directly to our survey site and give us more information about their needs. And so again, those open houses will be still about directing traffic to that survey. We have about 500 or so survey results so far, so we're starting to see some trends, but we certainly need some more to get a better feel. Then we can pull all those together, compile the data, and then bring it back to the public in some larger events to address some of the topics that were tagged in the survey.
The open houses are online too, right?
They are, yep. We're gonna have a at least one virtual open house where we're in a virtual room,
Yeah.
so people can join us, and of course they can do the online survey at any time. But yes, we want to make sure that we're covering everyone. We're also really looking at where the results are coming from, so that if we're missing a section of the community, we're gonna concentrate our efforts in that direction. And again, the final culmination will be a presentation to a larger group to address some of those topics. That will probably happen in the summer, so stay tuned. And that's all in my report.
One question.
Yes, sir.
I'd like you also to send some information to the TNT program so that we can have that updated with the changes.
Yes, I know that was on our list, and I'm writing it down to make sure that we are on it.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeff?
Good morning, everybody. Wanted to talk to you about our paratransit buses, call-up buses. They usually are a 5-year, 125,000 mile vehicle, and we replace them every 5 years. Unfortunately, the New York State contract, Office of Good Services, OGS, has not had a contract in place, so we haven't been able to put a bid out or anything like that. So they have recently fixed that. This is a lot due to the pandemic. Our 2016 buses should have been replaced last year. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. We're continuing to work on them and maintain them. Once we get the bid out, the pricing is going to be increasing, unfortunately, due to the economy. And it's going to take about 12 months before we actually see new buses.
With the pandemic, did we gain more time because we didn't use them as much?
Actually, the ridership was up on the call buses.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, unfortunately.
Is it cheaper to keep them?
Cheaper to keep them?
Yeah.
The problem is they start to wear. I mean, the salt and everything, it just starts to wear them down over time. They're not, they're a 5-year vehicle. We can get them 6 years, 7 years. We'll do the best we can. Just let you know that, it's gonna be a while before we get brand new buses. But with the new thing we're gonna do is show you a new mobility device that's gonna be a mobility strapping device. It's called the Q-Strength 1. And this video will show a demonstration.
Q-Strength 1 is an all-in-one wheelchair securement station that eliminates many of the complications of the traditional 4-point system. As a single, all-inclusive solution, it shortens the securement process to half the time, while significantly reducing liability by allowing for the standardization of securement procedures and training. Equipped with visual indicators, auditory feedback, push-button operation, and an easier approach to occupant securement use, it makes securement friendly and intuitive, allowing your operators to proceed with confidence even with the most complicated mobility devices. And its all-in-one design eliminates the guesswork of properly anchoring securements into the vehicle floor, as well as the reason of missing parts and storing various components of the system. Q-Strength 1 is the only vehicle-integrated solution that is fully crash tested to meet the highest standards, including ANSI Resna WCAT. It's a single approach to safety in which every securement becomes a
So it goes on, just explains a bit more. What we're gonna do is put it on the roadside, where we have one wheelchair position and the other side has two. Because sometimes you have some mobility device a little bit larger, you're gonna still need to use the other side to strap them down. We just feel this is gonna be a great asset. It's gonna be a lot quicker and easier to get them strapped in. Any questions?
I don't know if that's your department. I noticed on the regular buses, you have the card system. They're not working right now, right?
The card system?
Well,
You're talking about the fare box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they working or you got, because a lot of the buses got on the guide, driver said that wasn't working on something.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
the technology, when we started that project, we were actually pioneering, we were, I guess, testing that technology as a new product. We're in the process of still troubleshooting that, so we're looking at alternative avenues to replace that and upgrade the technology. So it would essentially replace that and the fare box.
Who's that through?
That is through GFI,
Yeah.
GenFare,
Yeah.
so which we've been a customer of for well over 20 years. When they presented this opportunity to us, it would connect to our existing fare box, but the programming of it, they're still working out. And this is now a 3-year. I think we started 3 years ago. Joe and I started the conversation with him, and it hasn't been successful. The pandemic has probably played a part into that, but now we're looking at an alternative solution, which would be an all-in-one And it would allow us a little more flexibility or versatility into the future with the new technology that we're looking at right now.
From GenFair?
From GenFair.
A little costlier, that one.
To go to the new fare box, it is a little more expensive than the existing fare box we have if we were to purchase it, but.
Should work.
It should. The existing fare box we have is now been discontinued. So the support in the long term is a concern, so that's where now we're looking to find a solution that they can support into the future. They're 12-year useful life, just like the buses, and the current fare box they're guaranteeing support for the next 3 years. After that, as long as there's parts, they'll support it. If there's not, we're on our own. So we're looking for a solution to cover all that and get the new technology in. And then it'll allow us to expand into further conversation with the school district for your request on, passes and different things.
So you want to get the new technology into all those new 60-foot buses that we have coming in.
Yeah. The current plan is hopefully we can get this new technology in by August of '23, but that's contingent on a few other things right now that are out of our control. But if we can, the swap should take place this summer, and we should have, or our target is to have the new technology in before the fair, so we can truly test it and see how it goes. It'll assist the operator significantly with being able to board, scan passes. It'll also help us on manpower instead of selling, because right now we're selling tickets at the parking
Yeah,
lots.
you don't pay one.
Yeah.
Just have it all right there.
Any other questions? That concludes my report. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
At this time, we're gonna have our operations report. Joe DeGray is not here, and Brian's gonna give that report for us.
Thank you, sir. So we're pleased to announce that we have hired an associate vice president of operations, Raman Azria, has joined us. His most recent experience was 6 years, a breadth of experience in transportation. Most recently, the last 6 years with Syracuse University as their associate director of transportation. So I'd like you to meet, and I'd like to introduce Raman. Welcome to Central.
Thank you.
And that concludes Joe's report. Joe doesn't think anybody else can do his stuff, so he's kept it really short when he's not here, so.
You got some work ahead of you, bro.
That's it.
If there's no old business.
There is no old business.
The meeting is adjourned.
Ding.
Thank you, everyone.
There we go.